The invisible emptiness is the feeling many of us are quietly confronting. After decades of shouldering life's responsibilities, it doesn't arrive like a storm. It seeps into the soul, like the fading light of a setting sunday.
All our lives, we have been defined by specific, powerful titles. Pillar of the family, excellent manager, devoted parent. These titles were the concrete structures supporting our identity, the grammar we used to understand and explain ourselves to the world. And then, one day, the office chair is empty. The children have grown up and moved out, leaving behind a large house where laughter and busyness were once the lifeblood. The journey of caring for aging parents has reached its conclusion. Those roles, which seemed eternal, suddenly vanish. This is a true existential shock. It holds us up to a cold, stark mirror and asks, if I'm no longer the person who performs that duty, then who am I? This emptiness is the source of great fear. The fear of uselessness, the fear of being left behind, and confronting the finite nature of life. Life was once a complex and purposeful symphony, now chopped into fragmented, uncentered notes. This is when we need the aid of the great lighthouses of philosophy. Philosophy is a spiritual architectural toolkit for us to actively recreate a new, sustainable, and deeper meaning for living. We will rely on three time-tested pillars: Stoicism, Existentialism, and Taoism, to rebuild a solid foundation for the most precious years of our lives. Before building, we must clearly understand how the old foundation crumbled. Most of us have lived under the pressure of a subtle social doctrine, Productivism. Society has taught us that your value is measured by your productivity and what you produce. As we enter the years after 55, physical production capacity declines, and with it, according to society's cruel logic, goes the feeling of self-worth. In retirement, we lose not only a salary but the social language to prove our importance. We feel like we've been excluded from the world's grand play, becoming a spectator. However, the core issue lies in a cognitive error we made long ago: role identification. We confused what we times do, times with who we times are, asterisk. We believed, I am my job, I am my responsibility. We turned external roles into the sole definition of ourself. When the external role is stripped away, the structure of the self seems to collapse. The philosophical challenge here is, how do we separate our intrinsic worth from any external role or performance? We must recognize this liberating truth. You have a role, but you are not that role. We begin with the most practical and powerful philosophy for the mature adult: Stoicism. Stoicism doesn't tell us to suppress emotions. It teaches us the art of classifying and managing mental energy. The slave philosopher Epictetus laid down an immutable principle: the dichotomy of control. In these years, what is within your control and what is not? Things you cannot control: the disappearance of old roles, the pace of physical aging, societal changes, the loss of loved one. You cannot control the vanishing of a role. Things you can control: your judgment about those events, your attitude towards life's perceived unfairness, and your decision on the new purpose you will pursue. The Stoic application is, instead of complaining about the loss, immediately redirect your energy toward internal realignment. Use the newfound time and quietness to build your inner citadel, a place where your peace is never threatened by external upheaval. Stoicism also does not avoid the truth of death, memento mori. For the older adult, this concept carries a particularly powerful and positive meaning, a reminder of the ultimate finiteness and preciousness of the time remaining. When roles are stripped away, your time is liberated. Stoicism encourages you to view this as a unique opportunity to invest in activities that reflect your core values. Practice. Use the remaining time to focus on your spiritual legacy, the knowledge you can transmit, the reparations you can make in relationships, the reflections you can record. Stoicism teaches, living a virtuous and meaningful life is the best way to deal with death. If Stoicism teaches us about internal control, then existentialism offers a challenge: the freedom and responsibility to create meaning. Existential philosophy asserts, existence precedes essence. We are not born with a predetermined purpose. When the predetermined roles disappear, we must confront the terrible responsibility of having to create the meaning of our own life. When the calendar is empty, a stunning feeling may emerge: absolute freedom. The philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre called this essential. When there is no boss, you are completely free. But it is precisely then that you must command yourself. Every choice is yours. There is no external instruction manual. Anxiety. Angst arises from this, the realization that we are fully responsible for every action and the meaning of our life. Existential application. Don't search for purpose as if it were a lost object. Start designing purpose as if it were a new architectural work. Purpose is not a discovery. It is an act of creation. Existentialism does not care who you times were asterisk. Existentialism cares about who you are times, choosing times to become right now. You are an ongoing project. Age does not end the project. It merely changes the material requirements. The old project focused on external success. The new project focused on legacy, wisdom, and inner depth. Practice. Start a new existential personal project. It must be something that demands learning and focus, and reflect the value you wish to leave behind. Write a memoir. Learn a musical instrument. Engage in high-level professional volunteer work. The purpose is the joy of becoming the person who is carrying out that project. You are redefining your essence through conscious action. If Stoicism and Existentialism promote conscious activity, then Taoism brings perfect balance by teaching us the power of letting go and the natural flow. Lao Tzu's philosophy of Wu Wei is not about doing nothing. It is action that does not go against the natural essence of things. For the older adult, Wu Wei is the antidote to the striving for purpose. The feeling of having to constantly prove usefulness. You don't need to constantly fill your schedule with fake busyness. The Taoist application is learn to dwell in the stillness, to allow meaning to spontaneously emerge. Spend time simply observing grandchildren play, listening to the rain, or tending a plant. Clarity, beauty, and joy often appear in moments of Wu Wei when our minds are not obsessed with achieving. Letting go of tension is an act of great power. Taoism views life as a cycle of yin and yang, of peaks and valleys. The phase after 55, with reduced responsibilities, is often a valley period, yin. While modern society fears this phase, Taoism cherishes it. The valley is where water collects, where life is most deeply nourished. Application. Embrace this phase as a time of regeneration, rest, and healing. Enjoy the quietness and the nourishment of the valley. Deep rest and reflection are the most powerful and necessary forms of Wu Wei. The flexibility of water, not the rigidity of stone, is the symbol of survival. Be flexible in spirit, accepting the new shape of your life. Finding meaning is not a single event, but a conscious combination of these three tools. Stoic tool, journaling spiritual achievements. Dedicate 10 minutes daily to write down 3 things you did today that you are proud of, based solely on your internal judgment. This reaffirms that your value lies in your own actions and judgment, not society's approval or titles. Existential tool, imputation of meaning. Stop waiting for a grand purpose. Instead, focus on the ability to assign meaning to the smallest action. The act of cooking a nutritious meal is an act of self-respect. Calling an old friend is an act of affirming mutual existence and emotional legacy. Every small action becomes a deeply meaningful existential project. Taoist tool, mindfulness of change. Do not fight the changes in your body or loneliness. View them as natural parts of the flow of the Tao. Sit still. Observe emotions without judgment, accepting the truth that everything flows and changes. This change creates space for new things to arrive. We have journeyed from emptiness to powerful affirmation. The loss of old roles is not an end. It is a great liberation. We have been freed from the gilded cage of social expectation. We are now spiritual architects in a vast, free space. The calmness of Stoicism anchors us. The courage of existentialism is our compass. And the flexibility of Taoism is the flow that nourishes us. The mature person is one who can answer life's hardest question on their own. Who am I when I don't have to do anything? The answer, dear friend, is you are the core, untainted self, waiting to be freely shaped into a new, deeper, and purest, meaningful legacy. Your legacy is the essence of the person you are revealing in this final, precious, and purposeful phase. This emptiness is not an end, but a grand invitation to recreate your core essence. Remember, Stoic calmness anchors you. Existential courage is your compass, and Taoist flexibility is the flow that nourishes you. If these reflections have brought you a moment of peace, a new spark, or a deep insight, I invite you to gently hit the like button. And for us to continue building this meaningful spiritual legacy together, please consider subscribing to the channel. Begin the journey of redefining yourself today. Thank you sincerely for your deep companionship. I wish you a peaceful, meaningful, and purpose-driven day created by yourself.